Good evening, fine ladies and gentlemen of YouTube. Thank you for joining me on this very joyous occasion. Season 4, last episode, final episode of the story of Megan. You guys know the deal. Subscribe, comment, like the video, subscribe, and do not be afraid. Although things are looking ugly, because joining me is Michael Bowie. We are coming back to you guys, season 5, very shortly. In the meantime, stay tuned, subscribe, like the video. Without further ado, my ugly friend, my co-host Michael. Let's get into it, man. Last episode, the story of Megan. I'll toast to that. I'll toast to it. I'll toast. All right, we're on the schedule. Let's go. We are on the schedule.
That's a long moment. Wait a minute.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he's got all the time in the world, man. While this is going on, subscribe, hit the like button, leave us a comment down below. Any other tracks you want Michael to play? Apparently, he's a music connoisseur, so who knows? I'll pick up on the script. Probably forgot it, which is impressive due to the size of his head. Regardless, though.
Oh, I'm sorry, Manny. Are we good to go?
That sure is happy music, I'll tell you what. Make me feel good.
If this is the last episode, let's keep it festive, make you feel like you're right at home since you are in Mexico. And that is really tequila, but like a brown version maybe, like make me mix with some grape juice or something inside of a wine glass. I get it. Here we are, last episode, story of Megan Tietz. We are about to do it up because in the last episode we like to find out where people are now. We've traveled so far inside the story of Megan Tietz, and so Megan, let's just start it off. Tell us, where are you at? What are you doing now? I know you kind of touched on it a little bit in the last episode, but where are you at? How is life? How are things with family? Everything that you've gone through, we've learned that whole story up to this point. Has anything changed? Family, job, kids, career, whole nine, music.
Everything has come together finally, and I'm sure it's not done yet, but I came back home to good old Taylor, Michigan. As I said, I tried to move away for a long time, but it pulled me right back here. I have a wonderful landlord, and I'm renting a big old remodeled farmhouse here with an acre lot. So I have a nice big house, 3-car garage. The kids are all with me. My oldest son graduated and went up to the UP to go to Michigan Tech for college last year. He comes home in the summer, so I'm happy, and then my 16-year-old son, Declan, we went through some issues over the last year since we've been settling in, and he got himself in a little bit of trouble, and now he is about to graduate his probation. He has done everything Mom could ever ask him for. He is a new father, so we have a 2-month-old grandbaby. Her name is Bailey, and she's amazing. I love her so much. My daughter is 14 now, and she is sweet as pie. She's such a good girl. She just started high school. And then I have baby Jalen. He is actually 6, but he's still my baby. And he's just the awesomest kid in the whole world. So I have me and my 4 kids together. Nothing can really touch us at this point, pretty solid. We've been through a lot, but we're solid. Just put it that way. That's where we are at personally as a family. At night, I get to sleep I know that I can take care of myself and that I don't have to get married. If I do, I want to, but I don't have to. I've learned to be very happy. I've learned to have peace, learned to forgive and forget. That's for me personally. I've grown in the industry with, I kind of put the music aside and I got more into what I'm passionate about as far as money goes. And I still talk with artists and I hear new albums and I always look at it as, well, can this person be sponsored? Can you get a sponsor? Can you sponsor other people's clothing? Could someone put their brand on you? Because we all know how Michael Jordan started getting, a lot of money back in the day. It wasn't from tickets at the door, I'll tell you that much. So I've learned to support the small businesses with the music and with art and with our platforms that we have. Many, many, many platforms. This is probably one of my favorites. I am going to be working for the next 2 years hard out of my house, and I'm going to be doing marketing. So I'm going to be contacting and doing polls from small business owners and just kind of see where they're at right now after this coronavirus stuff, because we know small businesses are taking it hard. Like, they're getting hit the hardest with this stuff. So what I've learned in marketing in the past years is obviously going to change with what these business owners need now. Any other place I could get a job to do marketing right now, I feel like they don't understand. They're just in there to hurry up and get that ad, get that ad sales and, put that coupon out in the mailboxes, but that they don't take as much time to ask what these businesses need now. And also what the platforms need, like what, our podcasting and vlogs and stuff, bringing money and monetary things to that is really important to me, so that not that we get paid for our time on here because this is what we love to do, but so that we can keep that market going, the economy going, and use the platforms together and keep the money down here instead of going up, paying it out and pay it up to corporate and it's gone, it goes poof. This way we can all work together as a community and we can do hyper local things and we can do worldwide things, obviously, because we have many, and we have Maegan and we have this guy, and we're all, we cover a pretty big amount of ground just between the three of us. And I love these platforms. Like I said, I'm a big fan now. And then the music comes into that, the music, we need the music. We still need that. That'll carry some things too and carry emotions and pull people in if we use these things, all of them together, I think. So that is where I'm at right now.
So let me, I know from knowing you that you also want to get into the industry and do like podcasting. So what do you want to do with that? Do you want to plug that? Do you want to tell people like, hey, coming soon, you can check out blah, blah, blah? Is there any way that you want to talk about that and put that out there so that you can promote it for all the people that are watching?
Absolutely. Right now I'm going to start with my YouTube page. This is my YouTube. That Girl Meg's Hook. It's That Girl Meg's Hook. So on there, I've started to post some things. You'll see some old stuff from Chamber of Commerce things that I've worked and fashion shows and just some cool stuff. There's a little bit more in depth about my story with the homelessness and getting through the Section 8 stuff, because I actually lost my Section 8 due to a really shitty landlord. And, some water pipes were leaking and he tried to charge me a huge water bill, and that's all it took, and my Section 8 was gone. So I've been making it doing this, but it takes time, and it takes swallowing your pride and your ego big time, because we all do want to do this, and I do want to have my page, and I would love to have this podcast set up and ready to go on all the platforms and stuff, but I'm going to start basic, and I'm going to start talking to the people on the streets first, and everywhere I go, I'm just going to talk to all the business owners, the employees, see what the moms need, see what the kids need, and work together. Even my son Dominic is going to do some shows with me from up there at college. He's going to do some of the sports stuff for us. I'm going to try to keep everybody hyped. And I would say I'm going to cover Southeast Michigan area for my platform with the businesses and the music. And then I hope that this catches on and, people can help me to grow that with their own platforms.
So, okay, I want to ask a question because you mentioned you just covered a lot of stuff right now. I guess something that intrigues me though is the fact that you now have a grandbaby, right? So, and this is looking into the future because obviously he's still very young. What is one thing you want your son to pass on to your grandchild that you feel maybe you didn't pass on quite to him? Does that make sense?
What I would want him. Nope, I think he's got the skills he needs. He's doing so good. He's doing better as a father than I could have ever thought, imagined, or asked for. And he's kind of like ready just to take over and do it all himself and grow up too fast. So I guess my biggest advice to him is just to slow down and to get closer to family, and know that he can count on me when, sometimes people don't have others to count on. It gets thrown on them and they grow up too fast. I want him to take advantage of the people he does have in his life in a good way and not be such a tough guy like I had to.
Okay. Another thing
Miss Bailey's going to have all the skills. She's going to be awesome. She's definitely going to be awesome. And I know a lot of things I have taught him, he's going to pass along without telling me.
The thing Manny was talking about was the future. And so looking at the future, because we talked a lot about like where you already were, where do you hope to be? Where do you want to be? What do you look forward to, in these next 10 years? What do you want to accomplish?
In the next 10 years, what do I want to accomplish? I am going to leave that to the wind. Honestly, I don't look that far ahead. Like I said, my pride and my ego is far out the window. And anytime I make plans, they usually get really screwed up. So, and that's basic things, basically. So I'm going to leave the future to the wind. I just want to make sure that my kids are fed, warm, safe, and loved, and that grandbaby too. Do the best to protect them from things that I can and be here for them when I can't. Keeping them close to me is probably my main goal for the next 10 years, is making sure that we stick together as a family and don't go off into different parts of the world all over the place. And, because my boys would tell you before Dominic went up north, he wanted to go to college as far away as he could. Declan's like, yeah, I'm right behind you, bro. Now, having Dom home for the summer, God, and having him here every morning to wake me up like, hey, Mom, you want to go sit down on the porch with me? You want to go hang out? And he'd play music for me, and we'd watch Mr. Bowie's little shows and stuff, and, keep up on our YouTube and our world news. And, those kind of things are so priceless. So if they do venture away from home, I do want them to come back around. I want to be close with my kids. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I don't want them to grow up too fast, and think that they got something else out there, because the world's different now. The world is so much different now. I mean, if you would ask me when I was 18 what my plans were for the next 10 years, I would have said I was going to get married, have kids, and be a zoologist. So I just changed that career thing.
It's a question that people ask all the time that I see on like Facebook, where they'll say, what would you have told your 18-year-old self? So if you could go back in time and tell your 18-year-old self, 16-year-old self, let's even say 16, when you got pregnant, that however old you were when that happened, what would you tell yourself then? Matter of fact, hold on. I'll spice it up even more, since this is the last episode. What would you tell that 16-year-old self? What would you tell your 18-year-old self? And what would you tell your 21-year-old self?
Great question.
Oh, my 16-year-old self, I would tell myself that life is going to be much different for you later down the road. It's going to be a lot safer. You're going to be loved, and you're going to have something to live for other than yourself. That my 18-year-old self, I would have told myself that not everything works out the way you want it to, Maegan, and it's not going to. It's probably going to fall and crash a million times, but as long as you just keep up keep getting back up, even if it takes 2-3 weeks to get out of bed. Get your ass up and at least know while you're laying there in your boohoo moods to, it's going to be okay. Like, not to worry so much about what things are supposed to be, because they were never going to work out like that. That would be that. And then what age?
21.
22 forever? How about we go there?
All right, 22 forever.
22 forever. I'd have told myself to stay my butt at home more and closer to home, and to be more careful around the groups of people and the places and the things that I've done and the places I've went. Like I said, I feel really lucky that nothing bad has happened to me, but I've bartended for 10-12 years on and off, all the events and the music industry stuff coming up. I would have protected myself more, tell you that much. I'd have said, you know what, God is going to give you everything you need to just stay right here at home, and you don't even got to go anywhere. Because it seems like every time I step out to do any business ventures out of my area, like say I have an appointment with someone over a podcast in a few towns over past Detroit, I'll stay home. We can do this on Zoom, because that's where you run into your trafficking things, and you run into people that will take advantage of you, waste your time. They just want to talk about themselves. They want, look at me. Are you guys about business, or what am I here for? Because it's got to take something really important for me to leave the house now. I'll tell you that.
I want to ask you, and this is maybe not even on topic, but you spoke about your love for Bowie films, Michael Bowie's shows, and you spoke about your love about the trio that we have right here going on. What do you think about what this season, the story of your story, the story of Maegan, has done for you? And what I mean by that is, like, what it has done for you in terms of closure, maybe getting shit off your chest. What has the story of done for you?
Oh, it took me down a very emotional road, and it was very hard. I would say at first I really didn't. I was going to do it because I know I needed to do it, because every time I sat down with a pen and paper, as I said before, I couldn't write this bio, you got to have a bio. It should be kind of easy to tell your story, and it's not easy to sit down with a pen and paper and write it down, for me personally. So you guys, I feel like I put you in that situation. I say they're making me do this episode. They're making me talk about this, making me talk about that. But that is just my sweet way of saying thank you to you, because I needed to get this done so I can move past everything and move past the bio. It's down. It's on paper now. Thank you so much for that. And I was also, I even called Michael at some point and said that I was feeling really guilty and kind of bad, because I'm telling my story and how it was for me, but I'm sure other people involved in the situations may have their own part of the story, so I didn't want to, obviously, and to protect the kids and everything, I want to make sure that I'm right on point. And I'm not going to say I was always innocent in everything, okay? But that's their story. That's what Michael said. Well, that's their story, So, this will keep going and going and going. And, it's the truth to me, and how my life ended up because of certain things. It was important to me. And I didn't know how to get over that guilt. And then everything kind of at the end before this show was confirmed for me that I'm okay. I don't need to feel guilty. People don't feel bad for what they did. People still are the same way to me sometimes, and just keep going and tell my story. So that was my experience. I went through so many emotions: fear, anger, denial, guilt. I think it's like almost like a mourning.
You went through those feelings in this season, or you're talking about in your whole life?
In this season. Literally. Yep. And then a thankfulness and a peace, and I'm really happy, I'm excited, like I feel great. I'm so happy that we did this. Well, it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
We're happy to have had you here, and the thing you said is, about, you're not perfect. I think that having you on this show and you telling your story is that example to everybody. I mean, anybody that's going to walk through life and feel like they made all the right decisions and calls, or they had the perfect little life, even if you look at somebody that you may think had the perfect little life because they live in a really nice house and drive a really nice car, they still have scars that you may not see, and you just don't know how deep those scars are. And the fact that you have pushed through and trudged through so much and overcome so much, and you have a positive message to spread to those that are either a going through those same kinds of trials and tribulations and obstacles, is befitting. You know, you went through those to have a story, so you can tell your story to other people to inspire them. Alexa, stop. So I think that that is the reason why. The, the reason why. I mean, purpose. We're talking about purpose. The purpose as to why you're here. God gave us all purpose, and your purpose was to tell your story, to live your story, and then tell your story, so you can help other people along in their story. And to comment on one last thing before I ask the last question before we get out of here is the fact about what you've encountered and what you've done. And I think that that should be foretelling to everybody to say, especially coming from a marriage perspective and then divorce, coming from having kids at a young age and raising them, from your encounters with family members and mother and father and what you've endured. You've come a long way, and I mean to hear that you had so many emotions within telling your story, it means the world, because we want to bring out that emotion not only to those that are listening but those that are telling their story. I know for me, when I did my story, it was therapeutic, and I don't know, I can't speak the same for Manny, but I would assume, but I know the other Manny that we had on the show, he told me that it was therapeutic. So
Mhm.
um,
And as far, I remember when you first asked me if I wanted to do this, and I was like, yeah. And then you said, what about a climax? Think about that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I remember just being like, well, this isn't it. This isn't my climax. I mean, it is, because this is a great part in my life, but I'm like, we're not done yet. So, maybe we can check back in later on when we get some more good stuff going on.
well,
That would be awesome. I would love
that climax is usually like that big thing that's happening, and we hope that that big thing is positive, because when I look for the climax for the story of, I'm looking for that big thing that has happened that other people, more or less traumatic or big in terms of negative, so that I can find the positive that they gained from it as an experience.
Yep.
Because I just feel like
Yep.
when
And
you
I've had
create
to
that
educate
climax,
myself in
that scar that we all have. And so I hope
that.
if we do revisit you, that we don't have deep scars, that maybe we revisit you and we talk about the positive things, and that the entire episode, maybe you hit the lotto, maybe you got signed with Sony Music, whatever the case may be, which is still a really good climax. It's just a positive one. And it's not to say let's not talk about those kinds of things. I think that those are really important, but I think that those deep scars are the things that we really need to hear, to humble ourselves and know that somebody else is going through something worse or the same as us, to be comforting, and to hear those same kind of scars, if it is that same kind of scar that we have, divorce, uh, you know deportation, trying to make it in the industry, trying to make it in the industry, so that people can hear the other people's stories and what they went through. So that leads me to two final questions. Other people that are watching this that have gone through those kinds of things, and I know I've asked this before, but I think it's best fitting. Has anything changed? Would you add anything else to tell other people that have gone through some of the similar things that you have gone through?
Nope. I think that I'm going to leave it right here. And I'm going to keep doing this personally and interpersonally. And I think that I hope I laid a good groundwork for step by step how for women like me, or girls or boys. I hope I laid down a good outline for how they can also do this by themselves or with you. I just hope that I can help somebody with it, and that they spread that, and that you just keep doing this. That's all I want out of this, really, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Oh, Awesome. And the last thing, since we're talking about, quotes and things, messages to kind of put out there to people, I'm looking at your shoulder, and it looks like you have a tattoo on there. Most people, which I'm actually considering getting a tattoo with a quote, but I can't read it from here. Is that a quote of any sort that's meaningful to you?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It says, "Strong walls will shake, but never fall down."
Okay. And what do you take as that meaning?
It's exactly what it means, because we are, you can be a really strong wall when you are even a child. If you have that strength in you, or you can muster that up, yeah, you will shake down a few times and people might try to break it down, but it will not fall down. You will not fall down. You will be just fine. When you think it's the end of the world, I promise you, most of the time, those things are the biggest blessings at the end of the day. Always, actually, in my circumstances. The things that I thought would break me and make me fall never could. Just shook me up a little bit, that's all.
Well, there it is, and I hope, like I said, that everybody that's watching takes a lot of messages from the story of Maegan Tietz. We are here every single Friday at 10, sharing different kinds of stories. Next week, we're going to start a new season, season 5, with a new person telling their story. So I hope you guys enjoy the season of Maegan Tietz, of the story of, and I hope that you guys tune in next week when we start a new season. Please, like I said, check us out, like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. Manny, as always, to you.
I love you guys. Thank you so much.
We love you as well, Maegan. Thank you for being on.
So
If you
we're
guys
just
want
gonna
to,
act like the music.
yeah, just ignore Michael.
No, that's
Ignore
fine.
Michael.
No, it's fine.
Ignore Michael.
It's fine.
Anybody watching this, watching at home, whether you're rewatching it, all of our loyal supporters, shoot us a message, man. Bowie Films on Facebook. Shoot us a message, and if you want to be a part of this, we'll make sure to respond as quickly as possible. Michael's a little dyslexic, so I don't know how quickly he might respond, but I'll be on top of it as well. If you guys want to be a part of it, or if you just want to give us a kudos, a job well done, look us up on Facebook, Bowie Films. Like he said, subscribe, like, and comment. We'll see you guys for season 5.
I will get onto that page also myself and maybe put a post up or something if you let me, or we can spell my name out so people can find me on Facebook too.
Awesome.
Well, that's a little stalkerish, Maegan. We don't want people.
I love it. Especially business owners. I always keep track of those.
Okay, no, you're right. Absolutely right. You're right. Well,
thank you.
I'll leave you guys with Michael because he obviously wants to do something funny.
I mean, like I said, I'm just celebrating heritage and all that jazz and making sure that it's all good to go. So thank you everybody for tuning in, and as always, we will check you guys out next week.
Bye.